right, all right. Positive energy all the time. You know how we do. Rep your city, rep your city, rep your city. Everybody on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook knows that I am representing the great city of Chicago, Illinois. Let's see who we got here repping. We got Buffalo in the building. We got Fresno in the building. Greensboro's in here. Indianapolis is here. Newark is in the building. Baltimore's in the house. Represent your city, represent your city, represent your city, and let's talk business, finances, wealth, economics, jobs. Let's talk that. Let's talk that. Okay. Welcome to the channel where I don't do gossip. We got San Jose in the building. So I don't do gossip. I do news. McDonough, Georgia. Salute to everybody in Georgia. Let's talk business to the younger people out here and the older people also. If you are mid-40s through whatever age, it is not too late to go into business, okay? Try to create you some type of business from home so that when you retire, right? When you retire, you don't ever really want to 100% ever totally retire. Meaning you have to stay busy. All right? If you stop going to work and you start chilling, your body will start to disintegrate. Your mind will start to disintegrate because you have to use your mind in order to keep it functioning and aware. I am 68 years old, and I could tell that if I didn't keep using my mind, I can tell it would deteriorate. And I need to talk about that one day too, because your memory will go away because your storage is full. And because they don't tell you this part, and because there's so much in your mind as you get older, things get pushed to the side. So my memory on a lot of specific issues is going away because those issues have been pushed to the bottom. So I'm like, what's dude's name? I can't remember his name because I haven't spoke on that particular person in a long time. I've been intaking new information. So in my mind, they have been put in the trash. My mind is not going to save any unused information. So information that's invaluable to you, if you're not regurgitating that, if you're not constantly having conversations, you're going to deteriorate the same way. And you also have to do that not only mentally, not only verbally, but physically. Move your body. Move your body. Also, all the junk you've been eating, you know you're getting too old. You're getting too old. You got to cut back on the animal products. You got to cut back on the cheese. You got to cut back on the fake salt or the bad salt. You can get you some really good salt, but you don't want to use too much of that. The drinking has to go. The drinking has to go. If you're 50 and older and you're drinking more than one to 6 times a year, you're drinking too much. Unless it's a little bit of wine. A little wine, red wine will help you men with the resveratrol, that'll keep your blood circulating. But I'm talking about alcohol. If you're getting tipsy, you're 50, I would say around 45. If you're 50, you need to cut back. Okay. So let's have this conversation. We're talking about business. And my point again, start tinkering with business. Listen, I have problems. I've had problems with this my whole life where you work, you're in a relationship, your mate works, you work, but I like to take extra money and play business lottery, meaning try to see if I can get a business to jump off. When I'm dating a worker, workers have a tendency to splurge. They have a tendency to try to make up for having to work 5 days a week, sometime overtime. So they feel like they owe themselves, which I say is fine. Depending on your job, you might make enough to have a great retirement. But typically, you will not. Typically, you will not have enough money for a decent retirement from 60 to 90. When you add that little money up, it's going to be about 10 years of money. And that's why you see people going back to work at 70, 68, retire at 65, back at work 68, 69, when they realize, hey, this is not enough money. So we're going to talk about that too. But, find a way you could make some money after 60, 65, and be able to keep yourself busy and have a little cash coming. Okay? Stay mobile, stay verbal, stay mental, talk, think, or you're going to start having dementia. We'll get to that later. So, good to see everybody. Rep your city, rep your city, rep your city, rep your city. We're going to talk something heavy. I'm going to talk about a business mindset. This is a huge, huge, huge problem for foundational Black Americans. Okay? Right? This is a huge problem. We got New York City in the building. We got Jersey. What up, Jersey? Oh, cute pie. You're right. You're not my world. We got Oklahoma, Jackson, Mississippi in the building. Let me show everybody. Oklahoma City, New York City. We got Newark in the building with her extra pretty self. We got Chicago in the building. Oklahoma, Jackson, We got San Francisco in the building, a very beautiful area, San Francisco, the Bay Area with the bridges and everything. It's like a little like New York with the bridges. Not as many bridges, but it is New York-ish, but a West Coast down. So yeah, shout out to everybody. Rep your city. We're going to talk about business, 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 business. Business. We got the beautiful people here. We got the great, strong, handsome brother, the brother from New Jersey. We got the queen from Durham in the building. Y'all ladies, there's some handsome men over here. Men and some beautiful women over here. NYC in the building. So we're going to talk about business, 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 business. All right. Something that's very, very, very important. Something that we need to look at on an international level. Also, we are not internationally dealing with business the way we should. Some of the vibrations between different Black people in different countries, not really dealing with business correctly. If you look at Africa, where, they're tripping in South Africa because too many people are coming from Nigeria and Ghana and kind of going into business, but as a competitively, when they should be coming to South Africa with a corporate mind state, with a cooperating mind state. They should be bringing something to the table to South Africa or coming to work with the South Africans instead of competing with the South Africans. We have that problem with the United States with brothers from the Caribbean, brothers from Africa. They don't come to work with us. They come and they take away jobs and compete against us, right? The Black people worldwide, you got to fix that. That's not going to get it. So we're going to talk about that. But let's start out. The first thing is with business. How you going to make money when you're sick? You can't get money if you are sick, okay? There's no job once you keep calling in, because you sick, okay? Health is what? Wealth. That's not just a saying. If you're not healthy, you can't get no money, and you're throwing money away. You got subscriptions you got to fill every month. You run into the hospital. You run into the doctor. You're missing work. And so, come on, eat better. Go over to Vegan Intel and subscribe so I can encourage you. Whether you get off meat or not, I can encourage you to intake more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, herbs, spices. Come on, let's get it together. Go over to Vegan Intel, subscribe right now, and we're going to finish this conversation. Okay, so health is wealth. So take care of yourself. Go over to Vegan Intel, subscribe, get some encouragement, right? Get some encouragement. Get some encouragement. Now, I wanted to talk about this because we have to now step our game up. Here in the United States, we have been on the move with starting businesses, but we haven't been on the move to start corporations. We haven't been cooperating. And so, even though we are starting little small businesses, that's not going to get it because it's really great. I run a lot of small businesses, but small businesses don't hire enough people. And in order for us to survive, we're going to have to think about job creation. For example, they want to go with all these automated cars. Well, what money will we make from that? And what will we be able to do? Because we don't make cars. And we don't make cars because we don't cooperate. And we don't cooperate because we don't have a business mindset in terms of a large population. It's just we don't have it. We still have a slave mentality. Unfortunately, we just don't have a business mindset. I think about my personal situations and relationships and stuff as an independent businessman, and it reminds me of this white guy that I came in contact with. This is back when they hadn't made your cars where you couldn't put radios in them. You know, they start putting chips, right? So they start putting chips in them, right? Like microchips and stuff, right? So I went to get a new car stereo in my car. And I had been doing business with this guy probably about 3, 4 months. So he's like, hey, Pharaoh. So I'm like, yeah, I think I want to change some speakers or had a shortage or change my CD changer in the trunk or something. I forget. And he says to me, he says, Pharaoh, guess what? I'm like, what? He says, I'm going on a vacation, me and my wife. And I was excited for him, but I didn't understand his excitement, right? I didn't understand his excitement. So he says to me, he says, Pharaoh, since I've opened this car stereo place, I haven't been on a vacation for 10 years. He says, my wife is extremely frustrated. It's put a strain on my marriage. He said, but I've worked hard to build this business. And he says, I don't have anyone that can run this business for no 2 or 3 weeks. I could not put my business into somebody else's hand. He says, I got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment in this building. And I can't just leave just some employee with my life's work and all my investment. And he says, finally, I have a guy that's been working with me now for a few years that I could leave with the business. It took him that long to get somebody to work with the business so he could go on a simple vacation. And he says, I keep telling my wife, we live extremely well because I haven't went on vacation. And she don't understand. And this fits what I'm saying because not only did it take him a long time to get somebody that could manage the business, that means there was nobody to step up to franchise. Because if you can get one person to come in that be professional enough to run the business, and then you could get 2 people and 3 people, now it's 4 you all. 2 could go and open a whole nother location. But if you can't get one person to even be there for you to go on vacation, you cannot compete with McDonald's. You cannot compete with Burger King. You cannot compete with the franchisers because they have their situation set up where they don't have to worry about it because when you got to open your own McDonald's. So they're not losing no money if you mess up your franchise. You have to put up some money to have a McDonald's. Right? You have to put up some money to have a McDonald's. So people would say, well, he got to find people. So let's switch to bands. You see the albums. People say to me all the time, we need to bring back the old school bands. We need to have, okay, why are there no lot of great Black American singing groups and bands? I'll tell you why. Because there's no business mindset. The band is not looked at as a business, and you cannot get 5 dudes or some men and women to work together. Listen, you can talk make-believe, we should do this and do that, but the fact of the matter, we're not qualified to do it. We're not professional to do any of the make-believe dreaming we're saying. You can't even put a band together. You can't put a band together. You can't put a band together. I can leave the women out. If I just try to put a band together with 5 dudes, at least 1 or 2 of them is going to be a problem from day one. From day one, instead of them just coming and playing their instrument and doing their part to build a band, they're going to come in with a power struggle. There's got to be a leader of the band. There's got to be a main contact. Every business has to have a leader, has to have a boss, right? They have to have a boss. Every group has to have a boss. No, back then they just opened up small businesses. Black people have never done anything what I'm saying. We came from the South, we opened small businesses. That made sense. We had a lot of small businesses. We never went corporate, ever. Most Black Americans built everything that we built by going to a job. They were bus drivers, stuff like that. My father was a bus driver. A lot of black men was bus drivers, and all that. They had work. The Great Migration was built off of jobs, not building no businesses. Black people came to Detroit to work for Ford. Now, that brings up something that furthers my point. So one day I was out at a black festival, I think at Washington Park, with one of my brethren, and he ran into a brother that he knew who was a police officer. And we started talking to the brother. And the brother told me, he said, I used to work for Ford, I think, or GM. So this black dude, he used to work for GM. And he said, Pharaoh, I'm going to tell you straight up. So I was working for GM. So I had a connection with somebody that we was going to get together. We was going to start our own automobile manufacturing company. He said, so all the brothers and sisters at my job that was good friends, I went and invited them to come to the corporate meeting because they worked with putting cars together. So they would be some of the main ones that would know how to help put the assembly line together and all that. So this brother, he wanted to start a black car company, his own, for us. He went to the job and he invited a bunch of the brothers and sisters to come to the first meeting. When he got back to work that next week, they fired him because one of them black people went and told corporate. That's why he was a police officer, because he had to go find another job because he tried to start a business for black people. He invited some black people to come to help start a new corporation, and they snitched. They snitched. They told. He got fired. So when it comes to that, we are not really on that level. Because we don't have a business mindset. And when you have a business mindset, an independent business mindset, you pay dearly. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you relationships. It's going to cost your marriage, probably. It's going to cost you. And this is nothing that a lot of people, you won't be able to relate, because this is not relatable unless you strap up. So if you're not in the game like that, you're going to listen to me, but you're not going to be able to totally understand. Because to build something takes a lot more time than to work for somebody else. Working for somebody else is the more easy way out. You can go to work, get your little money, go home, go to dinner, go to parties, kaka, kiki, kiki, kaka, kaka, kiki. Because you're nothing but a worker. And the bosses that's making way more money than you, they're the ones that got that job sitting there for you when you come back. See, when you leave work, they are there maintaining your work location. The place got to be clean. The place had to be secure. There's a lot when you leave your job, whether it's a hospital or whatever, there's people that's working to maintain the business side of the hospital, the business side of the insurance company, the business side of whatever you work at. There are bosses that are working for you to be able to come there Monday. And you're never going to make money like them because you play. You get off and go play. They don't play like that. They sacrifice. So that's why they get to the point they could take vacations and everything. And they don't really take vacations. They take their wife on a vacation, but they on the beach on their phone and on their laptop because it don't stop. So bosses at that level, they have to marry very special women. They have to marry the kind of women that knows where the bread is buttered, on what side the bread is buttered. So they know that Stanley, he's going to go on a vacation with her, but Stanley is not going to be off. Never. Because when that phone rings, Stanley got to answer it because there might be a fire at the business. The business might be flooding. It might be electrical outage. It might be a break-in because that's his business. And if he takes off, who gonna run it? Owning a business, the business have to be ran 24/7, 365. There's not no off day. There's not no off day. That's why you get paid the big bucks. Now, foundational Black Americans, you're not ready for the big bucks. You do try to make it independently. And so when we go back and like we talk about bands, this is why the bands fail, because they didn't look at the business side of it. The record labels was the business side, and they was just the slaves. The record labels. So the record labels knew that the artist didn't have a business mind. That's why the record labels always looking for new artists, because they know the artist gonna flop, because the artist ain't standing on no business. So they just bring in another one and another one and another one. Because you're a recording artist, but you're not RCA Records. You're not Polygram. You're not Arista. You're not that. You're not Sony. You don't have that mindset. You're not going to work hard like Sony. You're not going to work hard like Arista and Sony and them. You don't want to work like that. You just want to play. Now, when you look at us as a race, and you got one race working, building corporations and hiring you, how long are you going to last when you can't even provide your own jobs? You totally dependent on somebody hiring you. And now that they're bringing in automation and automatic cars and all that, now you looking silly because you know your job is going to be gone, right? I'm talking to Black people. You know it's over for you, right? You know your job's going to be gone. From the top all the way down to McDonald's. Listen, you know the real reason they throwing out Africans and immigrants? Because they know they ain't got no jobs for them. They got to go back home. You know the real reason they saying, okay, your temporary status got to go. You have, if you can't get, you got to go back home to get your green card. You can't wait here no more to get your green card. You know why they really doing that? It's not racism. Your services are no longer needed. Bye. You think they're going to tell you that? Immigrants, you're going home. Bye. Because they don't got no work for you. You only came here for work, and they know that. So they don't consider you loyal. Nobody's going to consider you loyal when you come to a country just to make some money. Do you believe they be off work? It's just a yes or no. Do you believe when they go to yacht parties, do you believe they are off work and out of contact with their corporation? Yes or no? Because all you see is a picture. Do you believe they're off work? Yes or no? When you see them on the yacht. Do you believe Jeff Bezos is out of contact with Amazon when he get on the boat? Yes or no? This is proving my point. Yes or no? I'm asking this person. Do you believe they're off work when they on a boat? Do you believe Elon Musk? They don't work, bro. So how they off work? Bosses aren't workers. They work longer than the average person. You're not in business. Let me talk to somebody else. The bosses work longer. Let me tell you a story. I used to work for a stock exchange, and we had to be to work at, I think, 8. We had to be at work at 8, right? So I used to listen to this, police. I used to have to be at work at 8. Just listen. Don't type no more. Listen. I used to have to be at work at 8. So I would get there at 8. I worked in the vault. And when you work at the vault, right, you can see, I'm locked in there, but it's a cage, right? So it's a cage because I work where the stock certificates at, so they lock that. They can't have nobody stealing certificates. And I would get to work at 8. And at like 10:30, I would see the boss get to work. So I didn't know. I was thinking like him, and I'm thinking, we got to be at 8. Why he could just get there at 10? Now, I wasn't paying attention to the first factor is when you get off work, the place is totally closed. So everybody getting on the elevator. But the boss wasn't. I didn't pay no attention. So I never paid this no attention. So years went by, right? Years. Like this happened when I'm like 19, and years go by. So I'm like 42 or something. And I'm driving on Lakeshore Drive headed downtown. And some kind of way my antennas was up. So I looked at all the buildings, and it was evening time. And I seen all them lights on in them big businesses, right? Like Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I see all these lights on. And then it hit me. I said, they in there at work. And what helped me see that is I was hustling, raising money. I was driving Uber to raise money to put in. I would drive Uber, send my money over, go order stock, flip the stock, right? So I would flip the Uber money. So when I was driving Uber, this is what opened up my eyes to that. I picked up 3 white dudes and a white lady. The 3 dudes got in the back, the lady got in the front. So I'm driving them and they telling me we started a business. They said we all sold our vehicles. Only one of us kept a car. We sold our vehicles. We sold everything we had. And we moved into they said we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. We had bunk beds in both rooms where the 4 guys slept. 2 slept in this room, 2 slept in that room. And they said the lady slept in the living room. And they said in the living room, they had all their computers and all that stuff. Now, this is what woke me up. So they said, yeah, Pharaoh. They said, now, we go home. We work all day here. We go home. She gets to chill at home and sleep late. They said, because we're doing international business. And they said, so even though it's 8 o'clock at night here or 10 o'clock at night here, they said it's business hours overseas. It's morning. So they say if a company tells them to contact them at 9 in the morning, that's the middle of the night, they said. So she worked all night to do the international business. This is some Black Americans, you're not ready for that yet. In other words, they never close. Because if you got to order lighting equipment from Switzerland, right? What time is it in Switzerland? All right. Now here it's 11:28 at night, right? It's 11:28 in Chicago, right? Right now, right? If I'm doing business in Switzerland, Monday morning, what time is it in Switzerland? It's 6 in the morning. If they open at 9, that's 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours from now, 12:31, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. So I have to contact them at 2 a.m. to get my stuff shipped here. So you tell me if Jeff Bezos ever get off work. In order for me to do business with a big company in Switzerland, I got to contact them at 2 a.m. here. So do I get to close? Do I get to ever close my business if I'm a boss or if we run the corporation? Do we close? Put it in the chat. Do we close? Do we ever get to close? When I go on vacation and the lights got to come and I got to order them, I got to order them when I got to order them. I can't say, oh, I'm not going to order them because I'm on vacation. If they're going to come 3 months later and I got to order them in June and I'm on vacation in June, I got to order them in June. I need these in 3 months. Now, this vacation will get canceled before I mess up $1 million deal. Okay, let's take a break. These are all facts. All facts. Also, when I worked for Uber, I made a whole lot of money. First off, I had an LLC as a driver. I had a driver's company. Okay, I'm giving y'all game. So if you doing any type of Lyft or DoorDash, whatever, go do it under your LLC. Create a company, right? Because technically you're an independent contractor. And that company can be used for various things. Now that puts you in a whole nother level because you can stack your money and then you can get a better car. And now you can start picking up executives. Not only that, you could work for them and for yourself. So when you clock out for Uber X or Uber Black that make a lot of money, then phone calls could come to you directly. And while you're picking up clients for Uber Black, you can give them your business card to make your own money. You got to think like a business person. Okay? So I made a lot of money because I didn't take people to work in the morning. I started my day at like 10 minutes to 4, 10 minutes to 4 a.m. I would go park down by the big hotels. Uber had a destination. I put my destination O'Hare Airport. So I was only picking up executives. I wasn't picking up workers. I'm picking up executives, run them to the airport real quick, stack some bread. And by the time the workers get up, I'm at home. Because I can't make no money sitting in rush hour traffic. If every pickup is money, you got to be able to pick up. You can't be taking on 2 hours, hour and a half to go to O'Hare and come back for one ride. This is hustling. Like I was doing corporate hustling. Then I'm off at like 6:30. I'm going on. Then I would come back to work at 7 at night. I'm giving y'all super game. Well, Farrell, why was you driving Uber and Lyft at 7 at night? Because at 7 at night is when the bosses start going home. They don't go home at 5. They don't go home at 5. I'm showing y'all the difference between the bosses and the workers. The bosses going home at 7, 8. The bosses, a lot of them live out in big houses in the suburbs. They go to the train, they park their car, and they take the train to Chicago. Then they sometimes get off work at the decent time, go to the train, and go home. But most time, the bosses don't get to take the train home because they got to do corporate meetings. They got to do corporate dinners. So I took the bosses to their car, not to their homes. They car at the train station way out in the suburbs. So I drive them 45 minutes to the train station out in the suburb where they live and drop them off at their car. Now, one time I had a boss in the car and he said, Farrell, I want to go to this Walgreens right quick. So boom, I pulled up to the Walgreens downtown. What is that, Dearborn or one of them? right? So I dropped duty, went into Walgreens, a white dude. When he went into Walgreens, I seen two brothers walk up when they seen him go in and stand up by the door. So now when he come out the Walgreens, the two black dudes, they pushed up on him. I jumped out the car, went over there. I can't say what I said, but let me see. I said, is there a problem here? They dissipated because they wasn't like that. They was, they ain't that, right? Or they wouldn't be standing around like bums downtown. So I was like, is there a problem? They disappeared. So when the dude got in the car, he said, that was impressive. He said, you're a really good driver, really professional. I'll tell you what, you could come work for me. I got a house behind my house. I got a big house and I got a small house. He said, you could live in the house for free. I'll buy you whatever kind of car you want, and you be my personal driver. Because not only are you a really good driver, you're also security. He was going to pay me thousands. All I was going to do was take him to the airport, pick him up, take him here, take him there, take him there, like that. If his wife got to go somewhere, I'll take his wife here, there, like that. That's all I was doing was driving. I couldn't take the offer. I was married. My wife, she ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna leave her own personal space and go live. No. So that was just out the question. That was out the question. My wife, she wasn't gonna do that. She wasn't. My wife wasn't gonna do that. Hell no. She ain't no way. I would have had to be. I would have had to been single. No way she was gonna do that. That's just not gonna happen. And I don't blame her because I wouldn't want my wife in some house. I don't know if this dude got cameras in here. Can she be naked? All of that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have took my wife anyway. I wouldn't have took my woman. Hell no. It's a no. I wouldn't have took no woman to that circumstance. The only way I go do that would have to be a solo single man. I would not take no woman and my children's mother there. Plus my children coming to visit us and all that. That ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work. I would have to be a solo. You know what I'm saying? I would have to be solo. My point is, the reason I met them people, because I worked the business shift, right? I worked the business shift. It's not so much going missing. If you got a wife and children, you're not taking your wife ever to live in some dude's back house. Like you a man, you're not doing no wild stuff with no wife. I ain't worried about coming up missing. That's why he hired me. I'm not coming up no missing or nothing like that. I'm not coming up missing. That's out the question. That's not gonna even happen. That's impossible. Some people say I'm extremely dangerous, but I'm retired. But nah, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, I was a married man. It's a job for a single man. If that's a job, you would have to be single or you would have to be married. You could be married, but your wife got to be a certain type of wife. I know some women that I would have did it with, but they aren't normal women. So it would have to be a woman like that. My wife wasn't built like that. But I know some women that is built like that. I know some women that I could have went out there and he would have bought her a car too, and she would have been driving too. I know some women with it. I know some women got their G licenses and I'll go to the range and all that. I know some, you know what I'm saying? I know some women that I know the kind of women that I could have, you know what I'm saying? Like even if I was single and went out there and I wanted a woman to spend time with me, I know the type, I know women I could have picked to come live out there with me though. I would have took them out there and took them to the range with them and said, she could drive your wife around. He'd be like, bad. Because I know some women know martial arts and all of that. Yeah, it just wasn't ideal. And we say all money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying? All money not good money. My point though is that there's a corporate entity. And in a corporate entity, these corporate people, their mindset is not like working people's mindset. So when you see them pass away and leave all kind of homes, all kind of yachts, all kind of stuff for their family and create generational wealth, they made sacrifices to have that generational wealth. And a lot of white men, when they make that generational wealth and they have 3 sons, they watch their sons close to see which one is going to keep the wealth and pass it down to the grandbabies. They not giving it to any son that ain't 100% standing on business. They don't want to give it to a daughter because she get married and now the other man would put it to his kids, which ain't our direct descendancy. See, men, ladies, I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but if I got a son, I got a daughter, my daughter's child is not my descendancy. My daughter's child is whatever man's descendancy. My only descendancy is my grandsons or daughters from my sons. That's my descendancy, which is messed up, but that's just how I deal with it. So it's like my daughter's son, I love him and everything, but he not my descendant. That's whatever dude she with, daddy's descendant. So I'm not doing backflips for him like that. I'll help her out because that's my daughter, but he not gonna get the same attention that my grandsons from my sons gonna get. That's not gonna happen because I'm gonna look out for my bloodline. That's not my bloodline. We give our daughters away in marriage. So this conversation is basically I'm trying to encourage our people to have a business mindset instead of a worker's mindset. Now, a worker's mindset a worker's mindset is different than a business mindset, but a worker could have both mindsets. So it's good to have a mindset and a business mindset because as a worker, if you have a business mindset, that's going to make you look at your job differently. That's going to make you look at your finances differently. That's going to help your earnings increase so you could get more money for your time spent. So you want to have a business mindset. And we need to get together. This is for the young brothers and sisters. You all need to get together and start businesses. You're going to have to work together. You can't have a band without a drummer, a bass player, a guitar, two guitars. You might have to have a singer. You might want to have kungos. You might have two keyboard players. You cannot, even if you sing, you can make money singing by yourself, but you're going to always have to find a band. So you ask yourself, do you want to be hiring different bands or do you want to be like Sade and you and the band is one? It's a business. So you all have to get a business mind state if you all are going to compete with Europeans and Asians. If the black man and woman do not get a business mindset, you are not going to compete with the Europeans, the Asians, or the Indians from India. You just don't have no chance. It's just not going to happen. The Africans, they don't have a business mindset because they just tribal. So there could be some good money. I could be a Nigerian and there could be an Ethiopian that I could work with and we could come up, but they don't mess with each other. So they leave a lot of money on the table. The Africans leave more money on the table than anybody because they won't look at themselves as Africans. And if they did, they got a bigger pile to choose from. You understand? We Foundation Black Americans, we got what, 50 million to choose from. Africans got 1 billion. So imagine the real business type African that's really a businessman in Nigeria working with the big time businessman in Ghana and the big time businessman in South Africa and the big time businessman in Ethiopia and the other countries. Look how far they could go because they don't just have to get them right out of their country. They could go for the top serious businessman around the continent and really put the continent on the map. But the tribal war is blocking their business mentality. That's why black immigrants don't benefit us here in the United States because they're not bringing nothing to the table to work with. So you're just in the way. You a slave like us. You come in here to work for somebody. Basically, and you competing with jobs with us, you taking away jobs from us. So you is a minus for us because we don't have a business mindset. We just don't have it. We don't have it. Nowhere. It doesn't exist. We can't even do it with bands. We can't put a band together no more. You got to go out and rap by yourself with a beat if you want to make it. If you want to make it, you got to go rap with a beat. We couldn't even keep we couldn't even keep Rakim and the DJ together. We couldn't keep Eric B and Rakim together. Listen, we couldn't keep two dudes together. We couldn't keep Eric B and Rakim together. Now, the first problem is the black man don't want to play his role. That's the first problem. You don't want to play your role. You don't want to play your role. You don't accept your rank and file. That's the first problem. As soon as I work for you, you want to know why I'm the boss. You want to challenge me. And you'll fight over positions of leadership because you don't have the mentality to build. Because if you had the right mentality, you would know that if you're early, if I start a business and I bring in 5 people, why would you be challenging me for my leadership position? If you was really about business, you would know as one of the founders of the business that you're gonna have to be a leader anyway. So why are you jumping the gun, worrying about trying to give orders and stuff, when we build a business, everybody that starts this business is gonna have to take a leadership role. So just play your role. Just play your role. Because you got what you want to do with the corporation, but you concentrating on roles. You're not concentrating on the business. You're concentrating on who's the boss and who is this and that. But we trying to put a product out. You're supposed to be concentrating on the product or on what we provide. What services do we provide as a business? No. You come to the business like a girl. I'm talking to the brothers. You act like a girl. You come into the business like a girl, to the point where, honestly, I ain't trying to be disrespectful. When I do get to the point where I want to start a corporation, and let's say I want it to be 7 of us, I would pick 6 women. I wouldn't pick no men. I would pick 6 black women. And then I would bring the brothers in later. Because the men got too much testosterone and they not business minded, they primitive, and they just want to challenge another brother. So the men, if I want to start a business, let's say toothpaste, I want to start the toothpaste business because I want to challenge Colgate and all of them. So I hire some brothers, but they ain't going to come ready to challenge Colgate. They going to come ready to challenge me. But they supposed to come and help the company challenge other companies. They going to come in looking at me like a computer robot. They're going to be reading my DNA and they're going to be waiting. This is how the black man look at you. Wait, he going to make a mistake. He going to make a mistake. He going to say something I don't like. I have brothers watch me like that. They come watch, they be like this. He going to say something I don't like. That's way. Just wait. He going to say something I don't like. And then they go to get in the chat. I be seeing them. They be some of these dudes, they just be watching me and they just be waiting for something that I say they don't like. They not going to listen to nothing I'm saying positive. They mustard, and they be always trying to play catch up. Straight mustard. You can't. How can you work somebody like that? How? I tell this story all the time. I had a brother, and I was making a lot of money because I was going to concerts and stuff, and I was selling my stuff in front of the concert. Eventually, I started working inside all these concerts, and I would do events and stuff. So I had a brother. He was a real good brother. And he had a family. He had started going to his dreadlocks. They fired him, so he needed to make some money bad. So I was getting more into T-shirts and novelties, and he was selling incense. So I was like, I tell you what, bro, you could come with me and sell your incense, and you'll have money to feed your family because you're going to make $100, $200 every night. That's going to be good-ass money. We was getting good money. So I took the brother with me. I got my table set up. I'm selling T-shirts, stuff like that. He's selling his incense. So he's selling his incense. So I take out my money. Hold on. Hold on. So I take out my money like I could do right now. So you can know I'll never lie. This is straight out of my wallet, right? Look at this money. Wait, hold on. I got money on two sides. I got this money and I got that money. When I see these ones, I know this is some money. And when I see this, I know this is $100. I already know this is $100. I keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I keep this on one side of the wallet, or 200 or 300. Keep them separated. 1, 2, 3. I don't put the hundreds together unless it's 1,000. When it's 1,000, then I put it together like this. So I'm telling him, bro, when you make your money, you got to put your money like this: the 20s, the 10s, the 5s, the 1s. And you got to keep it like this. Every time somebody pay you and the customer leave, put your money in the pile, fold it, and put it in your pocket. The brother out there selling his incense, he taking the money, he just sticking it in his pocket, right? That's not my kid. That's not my son. So, hey, that's on you. I gave you some game. Hey. So the man selling stuff, he just throwing the money in his pocket. So afterward, we get in the car, I'm counting my money. 2,000, something like that. He probably made a couple hundred or something. So he takes his money out, all balled up and everything. He starts unfolding it. Then he says, where's my $50 bill or $100 bill? I'm like, what you mean? He said, somebody gave me $100 bill, a $50 bill. He said, I must have dropped it. Bro, you probably gave it to somebody all balled up thinking it's a 5. See what I'm saying? So that man had sold all them incense and had lost like $100 or $50. Had lost, I think it was like $100. You know what I'm saying? When somebody bought like, that man had lost all that money. You know why? Because he don't listen. He didn't listen. He didn't listen to the boss. Now, he wasn't working for me. He was working for himself. But, bro, I'm the boss. I'm the one brought you out here. I'm showing you how to run the business, right? I don't know what you was thinking, but if I'm showing you how to run the business, that's for your benefit and my benefit. So what if he worked for me? He would have lost the company money. He would have lost the company money. When it was time to restock up, we would come up short because he would have lost the money because I hire him as an employee and say, do it like this, 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 and this. Like when I went and worked for the book factory, they tell you load the paper like this, 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 this. And one time I did it the way I wanted to do it and messed up some books. And the boss came and said, what are you doing? No, you do it like this. You have to do what they tell you because they've been doing it. You can't do it no better way than them. What make you think you could come and do it better than somebody that's selling millions and millions of books? And I come in and I'm supposed to do it exactly like they tell me, like the boss tell me. That's why he the boss. That's why I just got hired. Right? So you have to play your role. Play your role, black man. Play your role. Whatever your role is, play it and play it to the best until you get a new role. Stop trying to deal with the other role, the other people. You're not the boss. Let the boss be the boss. And if you feel like the boss don't know what they're doing and gonna mislead you, just quit. But don't waste the boss's time arguing with the boss. The way you build a strong company, if Azim hire me and Azim is the boss, my job is not to come in and beef with Azim and challenge Azim. My job is to be the best second boss, the best underboss. Why that ain't good enough? Here's Azim. I'm here. I'm trying to get right here. I ain't trying to get there. I'm trying to get right here. Why would I try to get with him when what's going to make the company stronger? What's going to make the company stronger is a strong underboss. Not a challenger destroys the company. Everybody needs to line up like this. All the way down to the bottom. If you're at the bottom, be the best one at the bottom, because somebody else got to come up. Yeah, you number 10, but somebody going to come, and they're going to be number 11, and they're going to be number 12, and pretty soon you number 10. But if it's 100 and you number 10, that's a high position. Right, if it's 10 of us and you number 10, you at the bottom. But if we build a business where it's 1,000 of us and you number 10, what's your ranking then? What's your ranking when you number 10 when we start a business and we end up with 1,000 employees and you number 10? You're a boss. If you 10 out of 1,000, play 10 and play 10 the right way. Now, what if number 2 leave and number 5 leave? Now you number 7. And that could be 7 out of 1,000. On this social media, a lot of brothers show you they not built for no kind of business. You would never hire. What you gonna hire him for? He gonna come to work. All he think about at home is getting to work and challenge you. He not thinking about the business. None. All he's thinking about is challenge you. He not gonna play his role. So the business is going to be weak. You're going to have a weak spot there. Because he's not going to play his role. Can't play his role. So he becomes argumentative, competitive, disagreeable, and worthless. And then he wants to argue with me, and he wonder why I think I'm the boss. And now I got to let him know. The reason I'm the boss is because I do stuff like this. You're fired. Get out. Security, come get him out of here. That's why I'm the boss. I'm the boss at this company because you fired. Walk him out the building. Don't come back on the building. We're going to call the police. It's trespass. No, have a nice day, none of that. Beat it, get lost. And no thank you for your services. Next, Kathy, go in there and put another thing out. We hiring. We got a spot open. Go in there, Kathy, go, we hiring. Call the second person that we didn't hire when we hired him. Call somebody else that wants the job. We got stuff to do. We're gonna, he a professional arguer. He ain't about no business. He don't want to make no money. He all in his feelings. It's that time of month for him. He got his depends on or whatever. Send him on. Because we trying to get money up in here. We trying to build a business. And he don't want to play his role. And when you don't want to play your role, where we gonna go? You all in your feelings when we trying to do business. Business is business. and you're supposed to be thinking about the growth of the business. That's it. That's what you're supposed to be thinking about. We have too many Black Americans that don't think like that. And as this baby boomer group go into retirement, they ain't going to have no money to retire. A lot of them. A lot of them, they ain't going to have no money to retire. Only ones going to be able to retire is the ones that was like police officers, nurses, doctors, certain jobs, firemen, stuff like that. Maybe a good government job, but the rest of them, they've been bouncing around from job to job and playing around and blowing money and going on vacation and buying expensive shoes and buying. Man, I got so many players because they play all the time. That's in my age category. That be on my phone talking about, do I know somebody want to buy some Louis Vuitton jackets or some Mari alligator shoes where they done bought all. I got a friend, he done bought all this designer stuff, had it upstairs in a closet in his house, spent just a fortune on alligator shoes and mink coats, had them upstairs, didn't even put a roof on his home. The roof fell in, the water ruined all the clothes. He didn't have no business sense, because if he had a business sense, I could have helped him, because we could have went and got a storefront where they sell antique designer clothes, Gucci frames and Versace glasses and stuff. People go buy that stuff because the value goes up once it gets so old. But he ain't never had a mindset to do nothing. He was a designer, made nice clothes. I was willing to help him make the business professional. But every time you talk to him, he talking about a bunch of foolishness. All he would do would argue with me and challenge me. Can't do nothing on his own, and can't nobody help him do nothing. He know everything, but can't do nothing. He know everything, had all the talent in the world, but didn't have the leadership qualities, didn't have a business mindset. He didn't have a business mindset. I don't care how much clothes you can make. I don't care how good you can rap. I don't care how good you can do whatever you do. If you don't have a business mindset, you ain't going nowhere, because you can't monetize. You can't monetize your talent or your skill. Right. Only the ones that got a 401k that have contributed and put their money in there, they will be able to retire. Some of them. That's why it's good you said contributed, because all of my people I know, they dipping in the 401k. They dipping in the 401k. They dipping in the 401k. They be dipping into it. Let's take a break and we're going to finish. So it's like people, if you get into try to start a corporation or something, and you're not at the top, you're not like the leader of the corporation. Your job is to create your own leadership. Know that the corporation, if you work whatever position you got and build it, That's how you move up. You don't move up challenging the other coworkers or the rest of the other people that's in the business. This is us. We start a business, 5 of us. This is me. You don't challenge me. You work hard, and instead of you trying to move up to my spot, just move everybody up. That's all you got to do. You'll be totally satisfied if you play your role and move the whole corporation up rather than fighting between each other. And now you don't go nowhere. You stay right here fighting for nickels and dimes. Make that make some sense. You know, focus on your role. Anytime you working with somebody and you trying to start a business and you see they don't focus on their position, fire them early, get them out of there. If they doing any focusing on anything other than their position in the new company, get rid of them. Bring somebody in that's going to focus on their role, because without that, none of you going nowhere. Because you got people that'll be focusing on what you're doing, and then when they doing that, they not doing what they supposed to do. And a chain is only strong if all the links is strong. If you got a weak link, the chain is no good. And you're not going to be able to compete with a company that don't have no weak links. So you don't chase for leadership. Chase the money. Chase the bag. Chase the bag. Don't chase the leadership in the company. Chase the bag. Make the company get the bread. Bring the money to your position in the company. Because the more money come into the company, the more money everybody make. You're trying to get money, or you're trying to be childish and fight for a position. In most cases, you're not willing to do what the leadership is willing to do. And the higher you go up, the more work it is. So why would you be fighting for more responsibility? Make that make some sense. Because the whole goal, if you're the number one woman or the number one man, the whole goal is to find a number two that can be exactly like you, that can have all the information on the logos, all the information on the websites, that have all the same information you got. So there's two of you at the top. You just at the very top and they at the top. Same difference. So that's what you're trying to do when you start a business or a corporation. You need somebody else to be responsible enough to do everything that you're doing. So you're really trying to share the leadership, but it's impossible to share the leadership because whoever name is on that paperwork, on that corporate paperwork, that's who's going to share all the burden. So you can't come in and be me or be Sarah or be Sheila or be Karen if they're the CEO of the company on the paperwork. That's the end of it. And blacks, we don't really understand paperwork and corporation and corporate paperwork. When the corporation is started, the boss is on the paperwork. You are never going to be the boss. You're not corporately responsible for the business. You're not the one responsible for the taxes and all that. So you need to become in good enough so the boss of the company can now put you in control of some of the higher positions. Because if we got 5 positions right? And this is me. I'm going to have to build up this position. You're going to have to build up this position. Each position going to have to build up. Each position going to have, for you to be big mega money, you're not going to be challenging each other. You're going to be building. Each one of these positions are going to have to be bigger. You feel you at the bottom, you a manager. Yeah, but we're going to need managers. So why do you want to be the CEO when you're going to you need to be trying to be the head manager, which is a CEO of the managers? So those 5 have to become 5 bosses rather than challenging the boss. And this what black men especially don't understand that. They think they're supposed to challenge the group instead of grow the group, instead of becoming a boss. We call them underbosses. Play your position. If you the guard, be the guard. If you the center, be the center. If you're a power forward, be a power forward. Why is the guard trying to be the center? Show me where the third baseman want to try to be the pitcher or the manager. So you telling me you play third base, you want to be the manager of the team? The manager probably can't play ball as good as you no more, if ever. What the hell are we doing? Imagine the manager want to be the pitcher. Tell me that won't be a disaster. The manager got to manage. The coach got to coach. The coach can't go out there and play. In some cases, rare cases, you got player coaches, but a coach is just a coach. A coach is not a player. Imagine if you play on a team I'm on, I'm the coach, and I'm competing with you as a player. I'm talking about I can shoot better than you. You're going to be like, what kind of coach is this fool? Bro, you the coach. You're supposed to be trying to help me shoot better. No, I'm out there trying to play you one-on-one on some horse. I'm telling you, let's play one-on-one. I can shoot better than you, and I'm the coach. And you the one got to play all the games. I don't respect you as a player. I'm challenging the whole something ain't even. What the hell? That's how a boss is. A boss is not something to challenge. A boss is a position in the company. A boss does not mean better than you. A boss means the head representative of the company, the one responsible for everything in the company. That's what a boss is. A boss is the head responsibility. Well, a black man to get in there and challenge you as a boss, but don't want the responsibility. He don't want the responsibility. Now, let's say I'm the boss and you next. And you see that there's some things I'm not doing that could be done better for the company. You're just supposed to go and put that together and present it. You're not supposed to challenge me. You're not supposed to challenge me. You're not supposed to say, you're doing it wrong. We could do it like this. If you number 2, then go do it and bring it to me and say, look, what you think about this? That's how you're supposed to bring it for the benefit of the company. You're supposed to put me up on game, not challenge me. You're supposed to bring it and say, look, we doing it like this, but look at this. What you think about that? And you're supposed to let me look at it. I might look at it, And I might say, no, we can't do it like that. I might be right. I might be right. I might not be right. Then what you're supposed to do is keep your idea, get back to work, and if something come up, we address it again. And then you're supposed to come to me private, not in front of the rest of the corporation, and say, "Okay, can I meet with you for a minute?" Yeah, two. I'll talk to you at two. You come back and say, "Remember I told you we should do it like this? But look what's happening." Now I'm gonna be like, first I'm gonna be like, this is a valuable employee. I don't give a damn if you, man, it don't matter if you questioning how I'm doing it. But if you constantly trying to show me it's a better way to do it, and I can see you really trying to make the business grow, that's why I got you as my number two. Because you standing on business. Because one thing for sure, if you stand on business and you right, if I'm a good boss, I'm going to see it. And I'm going to be like, this what Brian keep telling me. Brian, come in here. Brian, you've been telling me how long? 18 months. You've been telling me, go this way. And look, we should have went that way. I'm going to tell you straight like that. Why? I don't give a damn about telling you we should go that way. This business. This business. This ain't about right or wrong. This ain't about, oh, I was wrong. I'm not going to say I was wrong. Nothing. I'm going to say this the way we should have went. Period. This ain't no right or wrong stuff. We trying to do business. I thought I was doing what's going to make business, but this going to make business. We doing this now. Period. We doing this, Brian, what you said. We doing that. And you getting a raise. Good job. Just like that. Because you're trying to help the business. You're not trying to challenge me. You're trying to help the business. And you got the patience to help me see what you're telling me, like a good underboss. You got the patience. You know how to bring it to me. You ain't bring no attitude or nothing. You're thinking about the company. And you know I'm thinking about the company. So you know I'm not just going against you. I'm trying to do what I think is right. You trying to tell me what you think is right. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come out in the wash. And if what you're saying is right, it's going to reveal, and then I'm going to ride with that. Because it ain't about right or wrong. It's business. Period. I'm not going to make a decision to go against you. I'm making the decision I think is best. It's your job to show me what you're saying is best, not to get in a confrontation with me. It's not about me and you. That's irrelevant. We both trying to get a bag. So if you can make us another $200 million, $100 million, why the hell what the hell do I care? You know what I'm saying? If you finna make me and you some more money. So I'm be like, I don't want you to make us no more money. I want you to do what I said. What the hell? Bro, are you serious? Come on. At what point you bringing more money to the table? I just want to do it my way. No, I want to do it my way for less money. Make that make some sense. No, I don't care. I don't care what you're saying. We gonna take this less money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even though you're showing me this is more money, this is more efficient. No, we're not doing efficient. I said we're gonna do it the messed up way for less money. No, because all my business is just dolo for solo. Dolo. Because dolo, as long as I make enough money for my living conditions and money in my bank account, hey, I don't gotta have the headaches. These corporations I'm talking about is for the betterment of black people. What I'm doing is for the betterment of Pharaoh. But all of us doing what's better for us individually is not good for the race. Yeah, I dolo. I dolo because I don't got time. I don't got time for, you know what I mean? I don't got time. I don't got time. And I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody. Let me tell you something. If you work hard, you don't need nobody. You know what I'm saying? But this conversation is about black people. And what I'm doing is not good enough for black people. But I can't provide no jobs for black people. Black people gonna have to help me provide jobs. And black people ain't at the point to help me provide jobs. Black people's is workers. They like to go to work and go to restaurants and party. A lot of black people don't want the responsibility of running nothing. They don't want that because it take away their party and they plan. And black people like to play. And for black people to get to the next level, a generation, it's going to take 2 generations to sacrifice. And black people don't want to look at it seriously like that. It's going to take 2 generations of sacrifice for us to have our own cars, for us to be building homes, for us to own airlines. That's going to take 2 generations. And black people not willing to sacrifice that. And black people that already accepted being second, third, fourth class citizens. Black people is cool with getting on somebody else's plane. Black people is cool on getting on somebody else using other people's stuff. They love it. They love wearing other people's clothes. They love other people building their homes. Black people is cool with letting somebody else run their life. I'm hired somebody with that mentality. Black people ain't ready to be independent like that. I'll be wasting my time. How I'm gonna work with somebody don't got my mindset? Y'all ain't got black people. You don't got my mindset. That's why my dreads is all down. That's why I'm vegan. I'm different. Y'all like light years behind. Y'all still eating pork, still eating chickens and stuff. You way behind. If black people would have listened to me, how much money we could have made, all that Beyond Burger money, we could have been making all millions of dollars in nuts, seeds, grains. We could have been trillionaires just on healthy food. Facts. We could be running the organic fruit, vegetables, healthy food, spices. What's the name of the black spice? When you go buy your spices, when you buy your oregano and stuff, is there a black one? Is there a popular black spice company being in Whole Foods? What about condiments? Is there a famous black company making your mustard and ketchup and relish and all that? You ain't on nothing. I'm 68. I ain't got what? I've been listen. How long you want me to wait on black people? The black man, the foundational black man is not on the level of the American white man or the Asian American. Not close. He's not there. He's still suffering from being a slave and being underclass. He's still there. He's still licking the bottom of somebody else's sneakers. He ain't got no sneakers. He don't want no sneakers. He want to buy sneakers. He don't want no clothes. He want to buy clothes. He don't want no car. He want to drive somebody else's car. He loved driving somebody else's car. and he rank his success on other people's stuff. Everything the black man do is based on how much he spent for somebody else's stuff. He bragged. He bought a Bentley. He bought somebody's Bentley. He bought somebody's Corvette. He bought somebody's Benz. He loved them people and they stuff. He loved showing his home. They ain't building no homes. And you be showing me your home. And I'm a boss. I ain't impressed. Your home is trash. You ain't built it. You ain't got no real equity in the business. Tell me how much equity you got in your home you bought from somebody else, on somebody else's land in somebody else's city, and somebody else taxing you, and they can just overtax you and just take your damn house anytime they get ready. They can just run your property taxes up. They can discriminate and hire themselves and don't hire you and make it so you can't afford to pay for yours and they can pay for theirs, and you're going to lose everything you got, which is what's happening right now in the United States. We got brothers and sisters come from Africa. They're going to throw them out. They don't give a damn how much money you made. They're going to throw your ass out. Brothers and sisters come from the Caribbean. They're going to throw them out. Because they ain't, not only you not business, you don't do no type of government. You ain't involved in no type of government or business. Somebody else control everything. They control where you could go, when you could go, what you wear, what you buy. They control how you look. Every outfit you got on is somebody else's. You don't make nothing. Imagine a man walking around thinking he look good in a suit that another man made for him. What kind of man is that? What kind of man is proud to have on somebody else's clothes? How would I advise some people who start trading but fail, even some lose savings? Trading what? Trading other people's businesses? What does that have to do with starting your own business? What does investing in other people's businesses have to do with this conversation? Right. What does buying somebody else's stocks have to do with this conversation? I would think this conversation is anti other people's stock and why you don't got your own companies and trade your own stock. That's my answer. If you don't have your own companies, you should go broke and lose everything you got. It ain't yours anyway. You trading other people's company, making them rich. No, I gave him the answer. When you holding up somebody else's stock, that's like being branded as a slave. You might as well be picking cotton. I'm making a lot of money. I bought Master stock and it did good. I bought Master stock and then it flopped. And I lost my money. I thought Master Corporation was going to do real well. Basically, go tell it on the mountain. I think it's a slave mentality. That's what I think. How you was stock and you buying stock, because you know there was stock in the slave. You know, slave trade was stock. You know, you was stock. You do know they was bidding on slaves, right? And you do know the stock market was built on slavery. Oh, you ain't know that. You do know the stock market is some of the people owe us reparations. You do know that, right? Oh, no? So that's off subject. But it's proving my point. Look at that type of question. I'm trying to get people to build businesses. And this brother asked me about buying stocks from other people's businesses. What that tell you? This is a conversation about black people building their own businesses. And he asked me about investing in other people's businesses because that's what buying stocks is. That's what he asked me. What do I think about in a conversation about building your own business? He asked me what I think about investing in other people's business. Come back later when you know what we talking about. You don't know what we talking about. Go. I don't know what any of that. Here we go. This is how the conversation started going left. See? You see? Not too much conversation about starting your own. But as soon as you mention somebody else's businesses, here we go. All you gotta do is look, you see. Here we go. Y'all need to learn how to mind your business by minding the business. Yeah, it's a prime example of what I'm talking about. They ain't got no conversation about no black businesses. They just letting you know. We don't got no conversation or information. Now, I can't wait on them. I'm supposed to wait on them, brothers. I'll be waiting forever. They proved my point. Like I said, you can't get, listen, you can't get the black man to put a band together. You can't get the black man to put a band together no more. That's why everybody went solo. That's why all the singers went solo. Lionel Richie and everybody went solo. Why? Smokey Robinson went solo. Why? Because the brothers couldn't even stay together and have a band. The brothers couldn't have a band. So the brothers like went solo, and then the other brothers went and got a microphone and a beat. Because that's the only way you can get in the music business. Because if he wait on other brothers, he'll never go nowhere. You will never go nowhere waiting on a black man. Because the black man does not challenge businesses of other nationalities. The black man only challenges another black man. The black man will challenge me, but the black man will not challenge Adidas, Nike, Shell, all these big corporations, Whole Foods, Chevy, Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce, Bentley. The black man will not challenge that. He will try to get a Bentley to look better than you. He would try to get a better Mercedes-Benz than you, but he will not try to get his own car company and challenge Mercedes-Benz. He's not at that level. He's only into competing with you and basically have a slave mentality to breed the women to have more slaves. That's why the black man sleep with your woman. Because in slavery, they had to sleep with all the women, whoever could get her pregnant. So the black man's still a slave. He's still just having babies. That's why he don't want to raise his babies, because you don't have to raise the slave babies. Those babies going to get sold to different plantations. And like a lot of people don't see it's the same. He's still the same. Because the slaves were sleeping with any woman, whatever going to make a baby. So if I had a woman, she ain't mine, because me and her belong to master, right? So if the black man come up with everybody belong to master, he not really cheating on his woman, because that woman not his. He not even his. All of them belong to master. So anybody can sleep with anybody, because you ain't got no say so. That's why the black man ain't no good husband, and you can't trust him as a brother because he want to sleep with any woman because he a slave. He's still a slave. That's why he got. That's where they got that from. The black man's not a husband. He's a stud. They call him. And a stud, you understand? Dress up and walk around like a peacock on the plantation to try to attract the women to make master the most slave babies. And whoever could have the most babies, no matter who women, was a prize stud. That's what they are. That's what they'd be looking like to me. A stud. I can't trust you for enough. How am I going to go into business with somebody else sleep with my woman? You can't trust a black man. The black man got no honor, and he not standing on no royalty no more. He just a N-word now. He don't got no royalty. He don't look at your woman as your queen or a queen. He just look at it as somebody to sleep with. Cause these dudes, they don't got no queens. They woman ain't they queen like that. So the women grow up, they don't believe they're queens. Cause if I tell her she a queen and she go out there with the rest of y'all telling her she not. So I just sound like I'm crazy. So she ain't gonna act like no queen. How? The community ain't gonna encourage the man to act like a king or the woman to act like a queen. It's not till the shorties go up and shoot up the community and you in danger. Now you want to talk crazy how you can stop the shorties when you're responsible. But you don't want to really do no self-reflection. All you goody two-shoes is responsible for the gang culture and all that because you ain't got no principles. All you do is go to work, eat trash, and play. And then go back to work. Exactly what the slaves used to do. Get off work and play your fiddle, and dance. Sometimes even dance for the slave master. Yeah, you would go play fiddle for master. I'm just saying. So now when I get over here talk about going into your own business, shoot, I'm talking crazy. But hey, somebody got to do it. I got to do the dirty work. You can tell by my views. You can look at my views and know what black people at. They don't want to hear this. And they don't want to hear this. They want to hear what Whack 100 doing. They want to hear what Charleston White said. They want to hear some beefing and stuff. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear some beefing. They want to hear some gossip. That's what they want to hear. They want me to come over here and talk about Drake all day. Basically. So we got a long way to go. But under this economical situation, it's not going to go good. I don't see things working out too good for black people in the U.S. I'm going to just be honest. I think we've been welfare. I think we've been just dependent on welfare. I think we just like the crumbs somebody else giving us. I think, you know what I'm saying? My daddy always bought Cadillacs and stuff like that. But, I got to the point where I'm looking at the Cadillac symbol, I'm looking at the Ford symbol, I start getting irritated. Because I'm like, where's ours though? I want to drive our car. This cool, but it ain't ours. So that's what separated me, made me like strange. because I just like, that's why, real talk, if you watch me when I go live, I don't know if y'all noticed, you've never seen no branding on no clothes I wear. Y'all ain't noticed that? What kind of shirt is this? See what I'm saying? What kind of shirts I be having on? What brand? What brand clothes I be having on? My hat say Pharaoh said that. That's me. My hat don't say Nike or none of them. Y'all ain't never noticed that? The only time I ever wore brands was Cross Colors or Carl Canai. That's the only brands I ever used to wear. And then when they went out of business and they started pushing all that Louis and Gucci and Versace, man, I wasn't finna walk around with no Versace on. We don't see it. We don't see it, but the younger generation not gonna be able to see nothing they born into. So that's why my YouTube channel is the most important YouTube channel on YouTube. Because I'm born in 1958. So I'm able to bring information that I developed over time. You understand? Because nothing I'm saying now is anything what I was thinking in the 8th grade or out of high school or at 20 years old. I didn't think none of this, none of this. This was all developed over years of looking, and then my time period make me different. So if you wasn't born in this time period, you'll never have this concept. Why do I say that? Because my parents was born in the 30s, right? And they was part of the Great Migration. So when my parents left Alabama and came to Chicago and had me in 1958, when we was going down south through the 60s, I was going in what you would call an old country. So I seen Alabama, the old Alabama, right from slavery. And then I was around people that lived basically through slavery. And then I seen everything develop in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, 2000, 2010s, 2020s. So you can't have this perspective if you don't see that. I used to stay at this woman's house when I went to Alabama, look at her birthday. So I was around people born in the 1800s. And her home was still made like the 1800s. When I was a little boy, we went to outhouses. They didn't have bathrooms in the house. It's an outhouse in the back. And if you had to use it at night, it's a pan under the bed. And if you got a boo-boo or urinate, you have to pull the pan under the bed and use it and cover it and dump it in the morning. You can't even go outside once it get dark. Once it get dark, nobody goes outside. Your granddaddy might go on the porch maybe around 9 o'clock or something and smoke roll his own cigarette or pipe or something, but he got a shotgun with him, and they had dogs that lived under the houses. The houses was raised and it was open under there, and everybody had 3 or 4 hounds that lived under there. Why? Because they're going to bark if it's a jaguar or a cougar or a bear or intruders, they gonna bark. My granddaddy's shotgun was hanging on the wall right at by the front door. So I'm able to see the transition. So I can't be mad at nobody that didn't see the transition. That would be foul. That's what my value is on social media. Right? So when you look at that and you look at Black people development from when I was born in the 50s to now, it's going to look different than if you're born in the 80s or the 90s. You born way in the middle of the transition. So you can't see where you came from. So it all look normal to you. But to me, I see the difference. You know what I'm saying? I was around the old people that pick cotton. And I see the transition. I'm before the internet and all this. I'm born in 1958. I'm 68 years old. And why I'm one of the best on the internet. And I'm older than everybody. These other dudes, they got people making their videos and making their intros. These young dudes, I make all my intros and all of this. All of these graphics, I made all of this. You see what it say, Furwood? I put that together. Ain't nobody, a lot of these shorties, they, you know what I'm saying? They, even the babies, they not at my level because the babies ain't taking advantage of the system. They not learning all this stuff, which they should be learning. They should be learning all of this stuff to survive on their own in this system. But I'm a businessman, so I had to learn it. If I wanted to promote artists, if I wanted to put music out here, if I want to promote my business, what I'm gonna do? Wait on pay somebody? I have to know how to promote my business on my own to get my money. Because when you go into business, you can't be having no lot of overhead. And so, young Black man, young Black woman, if you want to go into business, roll your sleeves up and learn all the necessary things you're going to have to do on your own to cut overhead so you can make money. I don't want to make money and give it to somebody to create me a website. I don't want to make money and give it to somebody to make my graphics. You want to make graphics? Let me show y'all some game. You don't get this nowhere else. You want to make graphics? This way you go. Don't say I don't be helping y'all. This way you go. Watch this. Watch this. I be giving out a lot. Watch this. Y'all ain't gonna get this nowhere else. Man, you don't be paying nobody to do nothing, man. It's 2026. You know what I'm saying? The world's in your hand. You got a business, I'm sure you can. You can make all your business stuff right here. All your graphics, all your advertisement. Look. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Watch. I say your, not you. Watch this. It said make your own graphic. Look, I tell it, your, not you. Watch. I hope y'all learning. This is business 101. I think I need to do more of these for the younger brothers and sisters. Bring y'all up to par. Look. I spelled it wrong, no problem. Do I got to go downtown, pay somebody? Do I got to mail somebody some money? No. You don't got to do none of that. Look, I said your. Look, you still messing up. Look. Watch this. Watch this, y'all. They charged the arm and the leg, didn't they? Heck yeah. I used to have to go like that. Then I used to have to go to printing. You got a color printer. Watch this. Bam. Voila. Done. Just download it. What y'all think about that? You know how much money I'm saving doing this for all my businesses? Huh? You know how much money I'm saving with advertisement and stuff? You know how much? And I could just change. I could be like, I don't like that. Put this in the back. They got people you're gonna pay to do the graphics. They're gonna go and Chat GPT gonna do it. They're gonna charge you. They're gonna charge you for somebody for that. They're gonna charge you, and then they gatekeepers. They ain't gonna show you like I'm gonna show you. I ain't charging you nothing. I'm gonna show you straight up. You feel me? Are you learning? So, are y'all learning? Are you learning? You understand? Real talk. And you can do this all day. How you think? Look, you just come up with designs. Look. Yeah, I just go into details. Like, give me an office. Boom, play your role. Just like that. Don't chase leadership. Chase the bag. Look, boom. Whatever I wanted to say. Mind your business by minding the business. All right? Real talk. Are you learning? You understand? All right. Get your business mind together. I have Vistaprint my cards still, so I have them, right? But all you got to do is if you're doing, I don't mind them print my cards because I don't give out that many cards, right? So I don't mind them. They do my cards because it's a one cheap thing. They print them and cut them. But if I need thousands and thousands of cards, I'm gonna go, and then that's when I'm gonna go buy my own cutter and everything. But I'm not making money with cards, so I don't mind paying them. It's cheap. I don't mind paying them to make my advertisements because it's cheap, right? So I still use them. But if I had to give out millions and millions and millions of cards or thousands of cards, then I would go get the cutter, the cardboard myself, the printer. I would pay for the printer that could print like this. But it don't make no sense for me to do that because when I get a box of cards, they last for years. You know what I'm saying? When I get cards. You know what I'm saying? Because I use like internet advertisements, so I don't even use cards like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. You see it? Boy, I keep it a billion. And I just threw that together. If I wanted to make a real one, I would go take my time and say, okay, make the background like this. Web developers going to be out of business. What do I care? I'm a businessman. I got to make money. And my job is to get the cheapest way to make my money. My job ain't to help them make no money. My job is a businessman for my business to make money. And I need this stuff. And let's look at it like this. Let me ask you a question. When you got a business, what's one of the things you're trying to do when you got a business? What's one of the things you got to do? Because you got to buy stuff and everything, right? So what is one of the expenses? What are some of the things you're trying to do financially when you're running a business? That's a good question, but let me ask you this. You say developers and websites, they make money, right? Developers cut expenses, right? Now, I still use websites. Check it out. I still use websites because websites is a whole nother thing. But because I use Squarespace. So I use Squarespace. So I still use websites. I still use websites, right? So I don't got because it's cheaper. So I still use websites. You know what I'm saying? I still use websites because it's cheaper. It's cheap. Some businesses it's going to be cheaper for you to use somebody else. Some businesses it's going to be cheaper for you to do it yourself. So somebody like me that's making live streams every day, 2-3 times a day, it's cheaper and quicker because who gonna be able to listen? LZ Merck, who gonna be able to print these up for me to do another live stream? Like if I come back and do a live tonight, who gonna be able to provide that for me in a couple seconds like that so I can go live with a different subject matter? You see what I'm saying? So I don't got no choice but to make my banners myself because I gotta wait and order it. I never be able to go live. If I'm going live twice a day, 14 times a week, who gonna be able to provide me banners? You know what I'm saying? But I do use websites though. You know what I'm saying? I use Squarespace. I use Squarespace. You know what I'm saying? I use Squarespace. You know what I mean? So I use websites. You know what I'm saying? But I use websites where I'm in control. Now, you say, well, you use website, but check this out, Z. Guess who designed the website? I do. Right? Same thing, Z. I designed this website. I don't have to pay nobody. I put this stuff here. So I'm still using the cheapest way. I developed the website. I did all of this. They just give me a blank site, and you got to put your stuff on there. They just give you a blank site. But you the one got to put your stuff on there. You see what I'm saying? They just give you a blank site, so it's still due for self. You know what I mean? It's still due for self. Other than that, you got to pay somebody to design it. I'm giving y'all business. I'm giving you a hell of a business lesson. I didn't pay nobody to design these. Big Pharaoh designed this. You feel me? I did all this. I laid this out. They just give you a blank spot. I got to put the merchandise up there. I got to put the prices. I had to do all this. If I pay somebody else, let's say I want to change these hats. Now I got to pay them to change the hats. I don't got to pay nobody to do nothing. I get some new merchandise. I know how to do my graphics myself. I just go do my graphics and do what I do. I even though somebody, I paid somebody to make these graphics that's on these things. So this logo, Pay Black America, I paid somebody to do that, but I didn't pay nobody to put it on the hats. Like I learned how to do that myself. I learned how to do that myself. You see what I'm saying? See? I had to learn how to do it myself. Now, the graphics on there, I paid people to do the graphics. And the reason I pay people to do the graphics, let me give y'all some game. The reason I like to pay for my graphics that go on my merchandise, because when you're selling merchandise, the most money you're going to make is by having a wide variety. And the best way to have a wide variety is for it to always look different. And different artists do their graphics different. So in order to make, like if you're going to have a lot of t-shirts, in order to make it really look unique, to me, it's better to pay somebody to do those graphics so that you can have a variety of different styles that will catch people's attention. So to me, as far as business, like I keep telling y'all, everything is based on business. So for me, as far as business go, I like people to design so I can have a different look. Let me give you an example. Cut the check, right? Now somebody designed this cut the check shirt for me, right? You see? Right? Now watch this. Then I had somebody else develop one for me, right? And he developed this one, right? So that I got a different look. See what I'm saying? So I got two cut to checks. I got the one that really looked like a check. Then I got the green one. Because if I develop it, right, and then also you got to learn how to format it because you ain't going to be able to format them in a regular JPEG or nothing like that. You got to need special ways to format it in order to send it to a printer to be printed and really look clear. So you got to understand, I got these files that have to be sent to the printer, right? Now, since we're doing business one-on-one, the key though is everything must be saved because you just can't have this stuff on your computer. So I got a big hard drive. And what else do I have? I have a lot of smaller. Hold on. Let me make sure this been. Hold on. Let me eject this. Let me eject this. I've got a lot of smaller hard drives, right? I got these hard drives. They hold a lot of information, but they eventually get full. Right? So I got a lot of smaller hard drives, right? You have to save your stuff on hard drives. And you need to have everything on at least two hard drives. You could drop a hard drive and then everything's gone. So I got a big hard drive. I got these. Now I'm going to order two more hard drives. I'm going to copy everything on this to another hard drive, everything else on another hard drive, then two more hard drives where I'm going to start putting all new stuff. Because if you don't save these files, you're going to lose all your files. And you should have all your stuff on hard drive, your birth certificates, all this stuff should be, all your important papers should be put on hard drives. All your information, all your pictures, baby pictures, valuable family pictures should be transferred over to the internet and should be put on hard drives, right? And then you might want to go get a safety deposit box and put your hard drives in the safety deposit box because that'll never catch on fire. It's going to be in the bank vault. And even if you got your hard drives at home, if your house catch on fire, the hard drives are gone. You know what I'm saying? So you want your stuff on a hard drive and you want to use a lot of hard drives. Now somebody asked me, why does it seem black people don't stick together like we used to? The main the black people used to stick together because black people came from the South and moved in communities and stayed in those communities till their children was grown and till they retired. So each community was like a family. Then black people all related because they all had came here from mostly Mississippi and Alabama. Let's just take Chicago. Now, when my mom and them had me and my sister, and then me and my sister had our children is no way gonna be like my parents. That's just not gonna happen because those black people experience something that these black people ain't experienced. So you can't expect black people today to act like black people in the past because you only going to act based on your experiences. Black people today are not going through nowhere near nothing close to black people in the past. That little stuff y'all complaining about ain't nothing comparatively speaking. So it's not that much of a 911 like it used to be. That's why. It's nothing similar. That's why. You can get on the bus. You can get a job. You ain't going through the same type of situation like that. So you're not going to have that type of energy because you got a lot of freedoms. The more freedoms you got, how you going to be like people that couldn't even get on the bus? So you ain't living nowhere near. When people try to compare it, they lying to y'all. Nowadays, how I'm living, it ain't nowhere close to how my mom and them lived in Alabama. It ain't nothing even a little bit similar. That's a fact. Anybody tell you something different, they don't know what they're talking about. Black people walked to work and took each other to work for a whole year. Had to walk to work for that bus situation down in Alabama. Black people walked for a year. Protested, walked, and took each other to work for a year, didn't get on the bus. They don't never talk about the bus boycott, how long. They boycotted the bus for 1 year. Why? Because if they can't get on the bus, how they going to get to how they going to do what they got to do? But they not going to tell you can't sit down where you want and beat you up on the bus and all that. They not beating y'all up on buses and stuff like that. It's not nowhere similar. I was born in 1958. I grew up in the 60s. The 70s was nothing like the 60s. I don't really listen to him. He's a troll. He's a fool, and he makes money off of talking stupid. He's a fool. I'm not. Why would I listen to him? He's basically Luciferian or Lucifer. Talk positive over here. Talk crazy. Say something positive. Say something crazy. Like Charleston White, that's what he do. He manipulate the people. Say something real deep, something real good. They're like, yeah, he talking good. Then say something real foul. Then say something real good. Just manipulating the people. He's a snake. But he knows the difference. What's the difference between the 60s and the 70s? In the 70s, they bowed down. In the 70s, the corporations realized they need to make money. And we was hurting their money. So the corporations said, man, this racism, this got to go. See, they don't understand that white America said, man, this racism, we losing money. We losing money, to hell with that. They was like, the hell with that. These black people could do whatever they want to do. We losing money. Because what happened is, Thomas, when the Great Migration came and the blacks came to the north and you had the industrial boom, they didn't have enough white people to run the United States. The same reason they bringing in Mexicans now. So they like, listen, we got too many people. Everybody got to go to work. Right? Everybody got to go to work. They're like, we ain't doing this. Because you gotta understand, white people wasn't for that like that. That was some white people. That was not white people. That was some. Okay? That was not white people that was doing all that racial stuff. So the ones got sense, they said, hey, they went and signed the Civil Rights Bill. They're like, man, the hell with what they talk about down south. We got to get some money. We can't get no money with this foolishness. Man, we want some more. Man, we want some more Jackie Robinsons. We want to go to the base. Man, we ain't doing none of this. We try to make some money. Racism is lose money. Same thing going on right now. It's white people do not want no racism. They say that's bad for business. They ain't lying. But everybody didn't hate black people. That's false. I answered your question, right? Yep. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? They needed business. Okay. Slavery was whack. And slavery was too slow. What you need slaves for when you got once you got the cotton gin and all that, man, and tractors, ain't nobody need no mules no more. What you need with slaves for? Slaves are a waste of money and expensive. So they're like, man, this ain't gonna get it. They had to get somebody up here to do the work. So too much stuff was coming to the north. And they like, who gonna do the work? I got a picture that paints it perfect. Watch this. Watch this. This is gonna explain it right here, this picture. So they had black people down there picking cotton, right? Right? They had black people picking cotton, right? But then what happened? What happened when they grew all that cotton and they got more machinery and stuff? You know what happened? They're like, okay, but what we gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? Look, they're like, man, look at all this cotton up there they can't do nothing with. This up north. So they like, it's gonna rain, this cotton gonna boil. They gotta come up here and work in these factories. We making sweaters, we making socks. We don't need them down there where the machines can pick the cotton. We need people in the factory. They didn't have robots. So like, who gonna work in these factories? Who gonna work in these factories? All right, man, this racism, man, we ain't got We ain't got no time for that. They're like, man, we don't got no time for that. They said, that got to go. And I know this for a fact. They say, man, we ain't got no time for none of that. That got to go. They say, man, racism is over with. We ain't doing none of that. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. When I got out of high school, I worked for W.F. Hall Printing Company. I graduated Saturday. My mama said, you going to work with Nisi Monday. That's my mama's sister, my aunt. And Monday they took me down there and they hired me right on the spot. And I worked for W.F. Hall Printing Company. Blacks and whites all work right here. Right here. We printed all them paperback books. They had two buildings here. There was another one on another street that made the Ebony and Jet magazines and all the magazines. And the one I worked at, we made the paperback books. We printed all the paperback books. And they got an order 200,000 books, 20,000 books, 30,000 books, 50,000 books. You think they give a damn about racism? Boy, they trying to get money. They hired me straight out of high school. Boy, they wasn't trying to hear none of that. This is where I worked at. W.F. Hall Printing Company, Chicago. One of them made magazines. I didn't work at this one that made the magazines. I worked at the other plant that made the paperback books. On my soul. All the paperback books I had at school, I worked printing them. You see this black woman on the picture way back then. You see the black dude in the back? Way back then. Man, they wasn't doing none of that, man. They couldn't do it. They couldn't run all this. They can't run all this. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. On my soul. Look, they printed the Jet magazine, not the other one. That's how racist they was. The other plant printed the Jet magazine. They did magazines and we did books. Now they wasn't trying to hear that. They did the National Geographic. That's the other location. I worked at the location that printed books. Man, they not trying to hear none of that. They wasn't trying to hear. Boy, they wasn't trying to hear nothing about no. Boy, they trying to get money. Racism was for poor people. You're gonna be broke. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be broke. You know what I'm saying? That's how they looked at it. We're gonna be broke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the storage place I worked at. I forgot which one I worked at. I think I worked at the. Let me see. I remember it if I see it. I worked at the one on Diversity. I worked at the one at 46 100 West Diversey. No, I worked at the one on Normandy. I worked on Normandy. I remember I worked at the one 2441 North Normandy. That's the one I worked at. The one on Diversey, they was the one printed all the big magazines. I worked at the one on Normandy. Then they moved to Tennessee. My auntie had to go and get another job. She didn't move to Tennessee. She went and became a nurse when they moved to Tennessee. Yeah, I worked at the one on Normandy, basically Normandy and Jefferson. I remember now. I worked on Normandy and Jefferson.